Hey everybody, happy Super Bowl Sunday. It's February 8th, just hours before the big game, and we have some choices to make, don't we? Will it be Bad Bunny or Kid Rock? I'm Jeff Newton, a former 60 Minutes producer, former senior producer at both Vice on HBO and National Geographic Television. Welcome to the Writer's Cabin. So, everybody seems to have some feelings over this. I don't really, to be honest with you. I mean, I like football well enough, but hockey's sort of really my jam. When the Stanley Cup playoffs come around, you won't find me for days. But today, everyone seems to be constipated over this halftime show. In case you were living beneath a rotting tree, the controversy is this. The National Football League, football's money-hungry governing body, decided to have a fella named Bad Bunny as its halftime star this year. And the MAGA world went nuts. After all, Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican. Brown skin, fella who sings many of his songs in Spanish. MAGA was outraged that a, quote, foreign singer would take precedent over a red-blooded American. Editor's note here, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. Anyhow, you know how these folks don't like Hispanics. So they came up with an alternative halftime show. It's being put on by Turning Point USA, Erica Kirk's venture she inherited from her husband, Charlie, who made a name for himself debating partially developed college kids all over America before being shot to death on a college campus in Utah. But we all know that story. Anyway, the alt show will stream on YouTube and Real America, Daily Wire Plus, OAN, the Trinity Broadcast Network, and a bunch of other places nobody's ever fucking heard of. Good for them. It's being billed as the patriotic white theme, focusing on, quote, family, faith, and freedom. Nothing screams freedom to me like hating on Hispanic Americans. Anyway. It sounds delicious. I know I'll be tuning in. And guess who will be the headliner up against old Double BB? Kid Rock himself. That's right, Donald Trump's favorite singer. And others like Brantley Gilbert, Lee Bryce, Gabby Barrett. Those household names. Look, I'm not being a dick. I've just never heard of them. Sort of like I've never really knew much about the old Bunny Man. Note to my loyal followers here, I'm making up these nicknames as I go along, see if any of them will stick. Anyway, I don't know any of these alternative artists, except that Kid Rock fella. Remember him? From the MTV Beach Party days, beer bongs, sand in your underpants. Kid Rock blasting out his signature tunes, like I Want to Be a Cowboy Baby. He's from Detroit. With his long, greasy hair, tight pants, he's filled some stadiums, to be honest, with people who love his brand of music. Here's some lyrics from his hit, Cool Daddy Cool. Young ladies, I like them underage, see? Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. Right. Sounds like a pretty party family-oriented guy to me. Am I right, Erica? And these are the family-oriented people who love Donald Trump, right? That guy who said he didn't know Mr. Epstein until the pictures and birthday cards from Epstein's estate said otherwise. Is this a good time to remind people that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands of times? Thousands. Anyway, this was about the Super Bowl and how Bad Bunny isn't a good representation of real America. And Kid Rock is. And I think they're right. Because the current MAGA movement certainly screams America, with its Epstein cover-ups by Speaker Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, the blonde bomber herself, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel. Anyways, I bet they love the kids' lyrics about having sex with minors. Wasn't it just months ago Kash said there was no there in the Epstein files? That if there were any cases of rich pedophiles doing the wrongdoing, he would be all over it. Didn't he say that under oath? I can't really remember. And Bondi said the list of predators, pedophiles to be precise, was on her desk, and now she can't seem to find the list. Whew, I'm really getting off topic, aren't I? Okay, let's be clear. Bad Bunny, he has 91 million monthly listeners on Spotify alone. Spotify's that streaming service until recently ran ICE recruitment ads. Bunny's top song on Spotify has 1.3 billion streams. It came out less than a year ago. Kid Rock has 5.3 million monthly listeners, and he's been around since MTV played music videos. His most popular song, All Summer Long, has 613 million streams. In that song, he writes about having sex with, smoking pot with, getting drunk, whiskey drunk. with a 17-year-old girl. Erica, again, great family choice. I see why we want Turning Point USA in all our schools. Can't you, Misfits? Anyway, 613 million listens. Of that one tune. That's not bad numbers for the kid. Not bad numbers, except the song came out in 2008. That's 18 years ago for those MAGA folks who don't know how to do math in their head. Okay, that was me punching below the belt, just a little, maybe. But the truth is, NBC is hosting the Super Bowl, and the numbers don't lie. According to Americans, Bunny is more popular. It's a simple truth. And that translates to ad dollars for NBC and the NFL. An ad on today's game costs between $8 and $10 million fucking dollars. And Kid Rock would not bring anyone to the show. It's that simple. Neither would have George Strait, by the way. MAGA wanted him dearly as the halftime entertainer, if you remember. Even Turning Point USA didn't book him for this show. NBC is so money hungry and scared of Trump, they eliminated, censored, in fact, the crowd boos of J.D. Vance at the Olympic opening ceremony on Friday. So they aren't against Trump, people. Sadly, they're not against Trump. They're simply pro-money. On Saturday, they were so pro-money and so pro-Super Bowl, they had a story with the Olympic athletes about, not their sports, but the Super Bowl itself. And their Saturday coverage in the evening was kicked off from a reporter covering the Olympic highlights on the day from an empty stadium, not in Milan, Italy, but where the game today, the Super Bowl, will be played. In that story, the very broadcast where their Olympic reporter is talking to people, Olympic athletes, not about their sport, but about Super Bowl, they went far and wide into Italy to try to find a good spot where sports would be showing. Not the Olympics Sunday, but you guessed it, the fucking Super Bowl. They didn't find one, surprisingly. Americans wonder why the world thinks we're arrogant. Can you imagine going to the Olympics and talking to Olympic athletes about the Super Bowl? And they work 4 years for this moment. And can you imagine broadcasting from the stadium on the field where the Super Bowl is going to be about the highlights of the Olympic that day, all the way across the ocean in Italy. Anyway, I don't know much about Bad Bunny, but I'm rooting for him to crush it because nothing stomps out racism more than millions of dollars in ad revenue and big fucking TV ratings. We can protest all we want, but American businesses only listen to the flow of money. Companies take note that backing a brown person is, so far, still okay in America. That's why they have Bad Bunny playing on the Super Bowl. So enjoy the game, Misfits. Should be a good one. And support my Substack from the Writer's Cabin with a paid subscription if you like what you're hearing. Thanks a lot and have a great day.